Today we are here thanks to the Mumbai International Film Festival for a series of masterclasses and in-conversation sessions. I am Ayushi, your host for this afternoon. A gratitude also goes to the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, the National Film Development Corporation, the National Film Archive of India, alongside the Satyajit Ray Film and Television Institute, Kolkata. A big thank you to everyone who has made this possible today. Our session today will explore the journey of crafting unique intellectual property through the art of animation. By dissecting successful examples like Ayalaan and Chhota Bheem, we will discuss how animation can be harnessed to produce distinctive and marketable content. We will delve into various strategies and approaches to tap into the imaginative power of animation to forge valuable intellectual property. So it's time to welcome, with a round of applause, our panelists for the day. Let's hear it for Mr. Naman Ramachandran, a well-known journalist and critic in the world of Indian cinema. Mr. Bijoy Arputharaj, CEO of Phantom FX Studios and VFX Director of Ayalaan. Mr. Rajiv Chilaka, CEO of Green Gold Animations, creator of my childhood favorite Chhota Bheem. Can I hear a little bit of more applause? Let's get this energy up and high. Joining them, we have Ms. Anamika Jha, a specialist in legal IPR. And Mr. Ashish Kulkarni, Chairman of AVG-CXR Forum, Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry. Leading our discussion today is Mr. Ashish Kulkarni himself, a key figure in the animation and gaming industry. Let's give a warm welcome to all our panelists and our moderator. Audience, we will also be taking your questions at the end of the session, so please hold on to your hearts and your queries. Now I would like to invite D. Ramachandran, General Manager of NFDC, to come and felicitate our esteemed guests. Thank you so much, sir. And now may I request Mr. Ashish Kulkarni to please take over and get this conversation started. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot for a wonderful introduction. And we have a great panel today. First of all, let me thank the Information and Broadcasting Ministry and NFDC to put this panel together. Of course, we as a country have grown more uh, as in services country. Of course, the cinema doesn't fall into that because we had our own cinema for 110 plus years. Whereas when animation began and the VFX began, we actually were under the IT enabled services classification, and extending from there, we were more known as a services industry. Uh, Once we have learned the art and craft of delivering world-class animation and visual effects, some entrepreneurs decided to go the IP way, and it required a big courage in India to actually create your own IP and actually look at how that can start making sense to build an IP and a successful IP. And that's where we have two examples today as a case study. One is Chhota Bheem, which is actually seen the 360 degree. And then in case of visual effects, we've always known that visual effects even today is almost 100% services business. But there is still an opportunity whenever there is something very special coming into the visual effects storytelling, that one could actually look at creating an IP out of that, and the visual effects studio can dare to invest into that kind of film as a co-producer, and also look at owning the IP and taking it forward. And that's why there's a very careful selection of these two case studies that actually have been putting India into a different orbit altogether. So moving forward, I think let's start with IP, and then we will go to the rest of the ecosystem. My first question obviously is to Anamika. Anamika, you being, you have a very interesting branding of attorney of creators. And creators normally are very careless people. They don't believe in filing taxes. They don't believe in, they forget. They actually they forget to even register an IP. So, what goes in, according to you, when you want to build a successful IP, what are the steps that one should take to really see that the IP sees a life cycle, and where does it start, and how do you really take care of the IP?
Thank you, Ashish. So it's a very interesting question that how to protect your IP. Before that, how to build your IP. But I would say that most important thing is first to know your IP. Because most of the time we do not understand what exactly, when we talk about IPR, intellectual property right, what exactly it is. Being a creator, first of all, you should understand. It is a bundle of rights which is given to the owner or author of that IPR. Means it is a bundle of right, exclusive right, given to the creator of an IPR. Yeah. So once you create anything, for example, in this case, as we have a very successful example of, as you know, that a very successful example of Chhota Bheem, where you have created a character, but then along with that character comes a bundle of rights. You have the right to replicate that character. You have the right to create a derivative work. For example, we have a real life actor playing the role of Chhota Bheem. Means character is that only, and we have some new dimension of work. Similarly, making it available to the public. Yeah, so you being the owner of the work have this right to make it available to the public. So all this bundle of rights comes with the IPR. There are various kind of IPR, but for creating a character, copyright is the most important IPR we talk about. Yeah, along with that we talk about trademark, because your character becomes your trademark as well. Now coming to the registration of the IPR. So in India, we do not need a mandatory registration of a copyright. The moment you have created, for example, an artwork, right? So, and you have all the proof of that creation, that you have created it, then you get the IPR. you get the copyright on your character. But why registration is important? Registration is important because that gives you a proof. Because then you, if you have to prove that, okay, you are the creator of the IPR, then you have to give a lot of circumstantial evidence if you haven't registered it. But the moment you registered it, that is sufficient to give an evidence that you have created, you are the owner of that work.
Yeah, but my question to you is that, you know, animation storytelling takes a long time to create. If I register my script, for example, or if I register my story or a character design, then it's suddenly available in the public domain. So it can be, with little modification, people can cheat and create another thing. So how does that play out? Because we feel very unsafe registering it in the copyright on the day one.
Okay. So as you said, you talked about the infringement now. So being an author or being an owner, if you own a work, you have protection, legal protection against the infringement as well, correct? So suppose you have created this character and now somebody, some copycats goes and, replicate the character and all. But as I said, the replication is only your rights, correct? So now as you said that they can make us some modification here and there. So even that is not possible because we have a concept of substantial similarity in law. Means once you have created a character or an IPR, then if there is a substantially similar thing created, yeah, then you can very well sue the person who has created that substantial similar thing. Idea is not protected. So for example, we have created a alien, for example, as the example of Ayalaan is. But we also had another alien concept in Jadoo, in form of in film Kuch Kuch Hota Hai.
Yeah.
Both are conceptually, yes, there are similarity. Both are aliens, both look different. They have a comedy aspect attached to it. But we cannot say that it is a substantially similar character. Yes. So if you create something very similar to that, where a layperson can, by looking at the character, they can say that okay, these are the similar. In that case, you have a very well protection, and we have a very well developed jurisprudence in India as well, where you can get a protection, where copycat can be, they have to pay you, they have to compensate you. So all those legal regime are here. So in my opinion, first of all, while creating your IPR, make it very distinctive. Make it a individual in itself. You have to make all those investment in the first stage. Then, as you said, don't forget to register. Registration gives you an evidence. Registration gives you, you can claim your ownership, even if without registration you have, but it gives a proper evidence. And then third point is that, just passionately protect your IPR. If somebody you feel that, okay, without your permission, they are using their character on their shop, or they are using their character here and there, just do not let that happen. Because claiming your IPR is also very important, where you have to rigorously protect, file for the, cease and desist order, send them a legal notice, because claiming your IPR gives the value to your IPR. So that is the third step.
I think I'm going to come back to you in terms of protection and monetization as well, but the law of copyright says that if challenged in the court of law, whosoever can convince that they had the evidence of that idea or a design or a character first will be granted the copyright. And that's why this is very important. So coming to Rajiv, Rajiv, first of all, hearty congratulations on the live action film that has been created.
Thank you.
I think one of the Dabang creators of India who actually, year after year surprised our industry with unique creations on Chhota Bheem. There was a lot of rules and regulations that international animation creators, because we were not the first country to create animation, so we came almost after 90 years of existence of animation to start creating it. And they wrote unwritten rules and always said that the characters should do this and character should not do this, and character has a lot of do's and don'ts. But this man sitting next to me, Rajiv, took all the bold steps and he did everything and he proved them wrong year after year. So big round of applause to Rajiv for having such a bold decision. So people said that don't play with your character. And you know, when the Chhota Bheem happened, and at one point in time, you know, it happened with Bheem stories, and then suddenly the requirement of 200 episodes came in. And today we have more than 1,000 episodes of Chhota Bheem. And when you actually create 1,000 episodes of Chhota Bheem, it's a brand creation of a character. The kids into that age want to see their character year after year. So I would like you to take us through as to what went into your mind as you created the first character and then looked at creating the SKUs and going to the next level. I'll come to the Netflix a little later because that was a game changer again, and then come to the life thing. So if you can take us through that story, if you want to play the video. Okay.
Hi everyone. I think I'm pretty honored to be among case study as part of Chhota Bheem team. So I want to thank all the team members at NFDC for having me, information broadcasting, Gauri, Ashish sir, everyone. I'm happy to be here, and I'm always happy to share the story of how we made things. So back in 2001, I just came back. I studied animation in the US, came back to India, and was figuring out what to do. And we had a team of 4 people. And when with team of 4 people, what we were trying to do was, okay, now what do? We can't do service work with 4 people. We went and approached a lot of people. They said, we need 100 people studio. We didn't, so we were not really organized. Animation was very nascent. So we were figuring out what to do, and started doing a little bit of work for advertising and other things. And then obviously animation was the passion. And then obviously when you talk about doing something, first thing that comes up is you take characters from history, like, you know, Vikram Betal or Akbar Birbal or Krishna. Then we started doing, we started with Vikram Betal, and then we did Krishna. And then when we were doing Krishna, there were almost 16 companies doing Krishna. So one, as a small company, including Ashish ji's company, he was doing Krishna himself, and the quality was outstanding. So we were not even in competition with him. But we were felt very insecure, because as a small studio, whatever we are making, how do we sell it? How do we monetize it when 16 other companies with funds are going at it? And I realized quickly, going and tapping into the public domain will be a big mistake in the future. Then I realized still broadcasters only want Indianized content. They were asking for, I want characters from history. So that's when I came up with the idea of Bheem. Basically, Bheem is not Mahabharata's Bheem. Bheem is inspired from that character. And I thought it will be a great thing, because people will be easy to bring the first, like if we had called, instead of Bheem, we called him Harish or Naveen or something, I don't think it would have been this kind of hit. I think naming the character is the first step. We put the right name. And 2003, I came up with the idea. 2004, we set up Green Gold Animation. And then from there, it took us almost 4 years to actually sell the character. 1 year into production, then April 6, 2008, Chhota Bheem went on air. So it was something, it is not, you cannot convince people, especially who wants to see Indian animation is what we heard. We literally ridiculed by everyone, saying, you want to do IP, you have, how many people you have? I said 8 people now. So the 8 people who will create IP, I'm joking. So it was, we literally ridiculed, but I was not so smart, so which was good. I went on and on and on relentlessly. So then the other challenge was, one, even if you get the project, how do you produce it, was the biggest challenge. And that's a long story, so I won't get into that. So we had the good fortune of producing Vikram Betal and Krishna with Cartoon Network, and then they saw that the ratings were very good. So the next idea I gave, which was Chhota Bheem, they immediately said yes. They said, what do you think you'll do for us? I said, I'll give you 1 TVR. You promise that? I said, I promise you that. And that's it. We signed the contract. We produced Bheem, and it delivered more than 1.2 rating, which in today's television world, it's not possible. So they were very, very thrilled with the success. But with the first season being successful started, now how do we produce more? So we had to expand, we had to bring teams, we had to train, there were so many challenges. So from there, so we started like doing 13 episodes in the first year, and today we have done 16 years. We just completed on April 6, 16 years of Chhota Bheem. And this year, ironically, we're producing after 16 years the most ever produced till now, 79 episodes. Still, it is doing extremely well at the television, this thing. And with like 6 spin-offs were created out of Chhota Bheem. We took some to Disney, some on Pogo itself, and something on Netflix. I think he's going to ask me the question later, so I'm going to hold on to that. But yeah, it's been, and like Bheem today, like luckily, I used to attend all these sessions. So I used to hear Ashish ji and other senior members back then at FICCI and NASCOMs, and I learned that I have to register my character. So I was, then I did that in the early stage itself. And today, just a few months ago, Chhota Bheem is awarded as a well-known trademark, which I think she will be the right person to talk about the importance of being declared as well-known trademark. I think only 170 companies in India, out of that, most of them are international companies like Apple, Microsoft and all. So we became probably one of the first animation characters to be recognized as well-known mark, which is, I think it's a phenomenal achievement because thank you. It's not something that has been done before. But of course, I mean, see, the most important thing is, they say a journey of 1,000 miles starts with first step, and that's how we started. And we still feel we are at the first step because the challenges are every year it is a new challenge. So being part of IP, every year still we are figuring out how do we pay salaries on 31st. So that challenge is continuous for this industry. So we're working, Ashish ji and Munjal and other people are working with the government to bridge that gap. We hopefully find that solution. But thank you, sir, for your support.
So Rajiv, what made Chhota Bheem successful was not definitely the broadcasting alone. Broadcasting, of course, brought the character in every home. But, there's a 360 approach that you actually gave to the character. In fact, you went to any airport, we could see Chhota Bheem stores there. And there were many, right from t-shirts to keychains to storybooks to pencil box to the school bag to the shoes, to a whole lot of things. So what goes in creating a brand as a character brand with all the SKUs that you create around it? So how was that journey, and why you decided to do? You're the first one to create a 360 approach in India.
Yeah, I think one, like I mentioned earlier, like I studied in the US animation and all, and again when you see what Disney has done, I think the great advantage for us who's coming after others is you can quickly learn what the world is doing. And I saw what Disney and other international companies from the US and Europe, they were having this merchandise. I mean, how do you show that the character is successful? You have to have merchandise that is selling, or pirated copy on the streets and railway platforms and bus stops and other places. So I realized that, okay, if we need to know how we should, whether our character is working or not, you generally don't know from TV ratings.
Yeah.
So we luckily got once a booth, and which we just printed some mugs and t-shirts, and we tried to sell in the booth, and within 1 hour the whole merchandise was sold out. So that's when I realized that this got huge potential. So our merchandising storeroom was about 300 square feet when we started. Today we have 20,000 square feet area of storage itself for our merchandise.
Wow. So I remember when we did Little Krishna, and we did a study. Of course, we had a lot of do's and don'ts with Little Krishna, but one of the largest selling items out of merchandise was exam pad. And people, the youngsters, the kids thought that an exam pad would bring them luck to get them through. So Naman, my question to you, you actually stay in England, you cover in variety series of interviews, and you study this industry very closely. But But the thing is that the character brands is a very unique way of storytelling, and our topic today is to look at building a character brand to the films and the shows that we do. We have a unique examples from Japan where Hello Kitty was a drawing, and the drawing became a character, and animation came maybe 15-20 years later, and animation still didn't become popular. Like this, they have large number of characters coming out of Japan and Korea, where character brand itself has a huge potential to be becoming universally known, and the merchandise starts selling, and probably the films come later. In many cases, the comic book happens first, and then the film happens. So what's your take on these two characters that we're going to discuss today? How do you think the journey for these characters to become international would unfold in the future?
Well, the first step for any Indian character to become international is for the big broadcasters to broaden their horizons. So I speak frequently to at least the two big broadcasters who cater to the children's market, and they are at the moment they are content with catering to the local market, because India is a massive market, and you don't really need to look abroad to make your money. But if you do, and if you own Rajiv is a good example. Instead of earning 100 rupees, you can earn 100,000 rupees.
Yeah.
Right? And I see no reason why these popular Japanese or Korean brands, as you mentioned, and also things like, I live in the UK. Thomas the Tank Engine speaks not just English. It speaks Japanese, Korean, Hindi. So I see no reason why a homegrown character, even a complicated homegrown character with a lot of backstory and history from not just the Ramayana and Mahabharata, but also from the Panchatantra, the Hitopadesha, etc. We have the richest base of stories in the world, more than anybody else. But it's just that only we see it.
Yeah.
So the approach has to come from within, and properly IP copyrighted, as Anamika will advise, and then start going abroad, and then where people like I come in as a journalist, is that we start writing about it. Like Chhota Bheem, I've written about even most recently, maybe about 2-3 weeks ago, in Variety, and it just people need to know about it. So once you get into the international trades and mainstream press, and then people are exposed to it, and once the parents are exposed to it, they can expose their children to this content.
Yeah, I think before I go to Bijoy, I think one more quick question. Then we'll shift to films. One is that Chhota Bheem is built with a broadcasting first as a property, and then came all the SKUs. Then came the international distribution of Chhota Bheem into various countries. But I think the biggest change that we'd seen was an invention that you did with Mighty Little Bheem. So Mighty Little Bheem is a younger version of Chhota Bheem, and it actually debuted on Netflix, and it suddenly became very popular. It doesn't have language, means there's no character speaking there, but it's all with the music. But it actually went on to become the most popular kids property on Netflix, and amongst the top 5 properties between family and kids all put together globally. So that's a big success. In fact, some Indian property trying to do that. So what happened when you decided to bring a younger version of Bheem? What went through your mind as to how do you bring that differentiation?
So there's a backstory that I'll tell briefly. So we were pursuing, we wanted to be on Netflix. That was one of our dreams since 2012. And we were constantly, that time my team member Govind, I think you know him, he constantly wrote emails to Netflix to give an appointment so that we can showcase Bheem on Netflix. So we constantly wrote for 4 years, and finally in some odd event we met them in Korea, and then we got introduced in 2016. I had a meeting with them, and ironically that same year Amazon Prime came to India, opened Prime, and they bought our entire catalog for OTT. And they said, we want to buy Chhota Bheem. I said, I mean, it was just weirdly, but it's only a month ago we sold entire catalog to Amazon Prime. Then they said, oh shit, then what can we do? I said like, okay, can I give you another show? I said, no, we want something to do only with Bheem. Because that's, usually that's the way Netflix operate. They won't go with a popular character or a popular author or popular actor or something like that. Then I said, okay, then I came up with the idea. So it was not a planned thing. It was just something that happened. Then I mentioned to them, would you be interested in Baby Bheem? So we will have a preschool version, and preschool is very big on international markets. So we pitched that idea. They said, okay, why don't you make a prototype and show it to us? Then we made a whole prototype, 5-minute short episode on Mighty Little Bheem. So we called it initially Baby Bheem. Then we renamed to Mighty Little Bheem and pitched it to them. They loved it. And then they greenlit the show. It took us about 1.5 years to make it. And we made it in 3D. And then it was, so it went viral. And actually initially when they made it for the India, because they were opening Netflix in India, they made it for India thinking Indians will watch it. But it went viral. I think in South America, North America, Europe, and pretty much every world, around the world, it became a viral hit that it went on to become the #1 preschool show on Netflix, as well as #2 on Kids and Family. Yeah. So that's a phenomenal achievement for Indian.
How many seasons have you done?
We have done in all 4 seasons. Yeah. 3 seasons of Mighty Little Bheem, and in the 4th season is actually a spin-off from there wherein Bheem goes to school, which is called as Mighty Bheem's Playtime. Okay. So we technically have another spin-off.
So you have a growing character now.
I mean, yeah, I think that is something we are fortunate, and but the most important USP has always been that boys like to be strong. Yeah, and that's where we connect. Whatever age boys, they want to be strong. You know, immediately they eat and they want to punch you in the stomach.
Anyway, nowadays girls also want to be strong, but we need to make some girl properties. We'll discuss that later. So, coming to Vijay, thanks for the patience. We spent 30 minutes already. You know, when everybody in visual effects only thinks about the services business, which films are getting made, you know, we have a very interesting phenomenon that's happening all over the world right now. Earlier there used to be 2 people, the director and the cinematographer. And then came the art director in 90s. So there was a triangle. Right now we are actually inventing a quad. The director, cinematographer, art director, and visual effects director. Because visual effects actually is taking precedence in every movie, every ad film, every television series, every OTT series. It cannot be completed without visual effects today. But when everybody is thinking of services, what made you, think and invest into a movie which has got a character, which is a visual effects movie, but also has an animated character in it? So what went around, and when in the life cycle you decided that you need to own and become a co-producer?
Thank you, Ashish and NFDC for having us here. And before I talk about that, can I just play this clip so that, because we are not that famous as Chhota Bheem.
Can you play Ayalaan?
Yeah, can you please play the Phantom Effects?
In a cinematic universe filled with wonder and intrigue lies the groundbreaking project Ayalaan, where reality blurs with fantasy and visual effects come alive. Meet Phantom FX the visionary powerhouse behind the magic of Ayalaan. Under the leadership of CEO and VFX director Mr. Bijoy Arputharaj, Phantom FX assembled a team of over 650 talented individuals spread across multiple cities in India. Bijoy worked closely with the film director and the Phantom FX team, guiding them through every stage of this monumental task. It all began with storyboards and concept arts, laying the foundation for the breathtaking visuals that graced the silver screen. The team meticulously crafted 3D models, including the awe-inspiring Alien, which underwent multiple iterations to capture the director's vision. Extensive research and development were conducted even before the shoot commenced, saving valuable time during post-production and ensuring unparalleled quality. A practical set was meticulously built, providing the backdrop for the epic adventure. Despite challenges such as the elephant sequence, Phantom FX CG team rose to the occasion, delivering remarkably realistic creatures. From alien spaceships to menacing robots, Phantom FX's expertise in CG brought to life a plethora of otherworldly elements, each seamlessly integrated into the fabric of the story. Utilizing both CG and 2D effects, Phantom FX achieved stunning visuals, exemplified by scenes such as the intense energy clash between the protagonist and the antagonist. With state-of-the-art motion capture and facial capture technology, Phantom FX breathed life into the alien character, imbuing it with a sense of realism that captivated audiences. Custom tools developed by Phantom FX enhance the pipeline, empowering artists to work efficiently and effectively, ensuring the timely completion of this monumental project. Ayalaan represents the culmination of every Phantomite's dream, a testament to their dedication and passion. Prepare to be mesmerized as Phantom FX takes you on an unforgettable journey beyond the realms of imagination.
As you saw, Ayalaan is something new and groundbreaking for Indian film because, as Ashish said, it's a unique try for Indian cinema. Though we have seen so many such characters and films, internationally released, but something in Indian cinema to have a CGI character in the live-action film throughout the film is something very, very unique, and it costs more for any producers in that case. So not everybody thought that this can be done, and this is not in practice, as I said. Like they were not very sure if it is first of all doable, and producers are not sure if even if they did it, they can recoup the money or not. So there were so many myths around all these kind of films. So nobody dared to do it. So the very important thing that we had in mind is to break this myth, and that was the intention behind doing this film actually. So when we started this film, when the director had this script in his mind, we were not actually a producer. But as soon as the script started growing in, and the producers, the actual producers were not very confident, and they wanted to back out of this film, and that's when we decided that we will be a part of this, and we will back this film, because we thought Indian cinema needs an example, and our producers needs to see, after seeing Bahubali, more people understood that these kind of films can be made in India and can be marketed across the world, and they can definitely make a very good profit also. So we thought this is going to be a groundbreaking idea, and we will be able to prove our filmmakers and the industry that something like this can be done from Indian cinema as well. So that is a very very first thought that we had when we did Ayalaan. And when it comes to IP, yes, of course, we before even we started working on this film, we got the IP rights, because we felt that Alien is not a creature that it has to be necessarily Indian. Everybody knows it, so it can be internationally marketed. So we thought when the movie goes a hit, and of course the character turned out to be very cute, and kids are all in love with it. So we thought there is a huge market, just not this film, but apart from that, we thought of doing television series or cartoons and merchandise and so on. So we thought we will own the IP, so that in the future we can do anything with that. So that is what we are doing right now. We are planning to do cartoon series based on this alien character Tattoo, because it has humor and it has so many things. If you watch the film, you will know. It's about an alien who comes from an alien world to our world, and struggles with all those to adapting to our worldly culture and all those stuff. So it's a very funny movie. So in the second part, we have an idea to take audience to the alien planet and show what is there and all. So that's how the IP grows, right? We have so much of ideas surrounding this Tattoo character, and there are other supporting characters as well. So we have a great plan, with this aliens film. What was your question again?
So let me ask you. You did Leo. You did many, cutting-edge movies in visual effects. Never struck you earlier that you should actually own a character, or become a participant into the production process itself there?
The very important thing is being a service company is just you create many things, you put all your creativity into it, but at the end of the day you don't own anything of it. You cannot, even though you have created a character or anything for a film, you don't own that character, and you don't have anything else to do with that character after the film's release. Only the producers have the rights, and even if you want to do, and if you have an amazing idea, it restricts you from doing something on your own. So that is a very big reason that we wanted to own this character. And yeah, of course, as I said, we have been a service provider throughout, and now we've been producing films, and all the films that we are producing, we are looking into such IPs to be owned. Because IP is not something going to pay off now, but it is going to pay off till the character is marketable, and people have a very different concept in India here, that nobody is aware of this IP ownership. In this crowd, how many of us are using Windows? And not everybody understands that. People might think, when they buy a computer, it comes with it, but we have to pay a license for it. We have to pay for the IP that whoever created that, and it goes with all the softwares that we are using. But in India, we have a different concept of using these software. Yeah. So it's something similar to that. So when somebody put their soul and heart into it and create something, and So registering an IP on their name is very, very important, and that's what I think is important, and the awareness has to be created. So I think thank you everybody for doing that.
Thanks, Bijoy. My question to Anamika, what's your suggestion to Bijoy that the film in Tamil is released? Now it's going to be releasing in other languages. He has acquired the character rights of the alien. So what are the other rights that he should really acquire? Because he can then look at producing it into television series to multiple areas. Might not be with the same producers. So what's your suggestion to him?
This is very interesting, live case kind of thing. So, as Bijoy said, and this struck me very well, that you own the IP, correct? So what happens in most of the case, creators, they do not give that focus of owning an IP. And when you approach to OTT platform or broadcasters, so what happens? They own the entire right. You become just a service provider. They pay you certain, production fee or something, and then they own the character. And they own everything related to that. But in this case, since Bijoy has owned the character, means he has just given the license to the different broadcasters who are broadcasting in India. In future, if you are, progressing to other territory, then you are giving that specific territory right to particular person. They can showcase your film, but at the same time, they do not own your film. So, as the IP is with you, now if you are giving the right, for example, if somebody is very interested in making web series based on that, you being a producer, you don't want to make the web series, you are just giving the license to that particular, again, you are not parting away with the ownership. You are giving the license that, okay, fine, you can make the web series based on this. But I am still owning the character. I am giving you a limited license to create it. And you receive a license fee out of that. Similarly, you want to venture into, some kids fantasy kind of series. You are producing that series based on this character. Again, a limited license can be granted, correct? So we have to understand that there are a lot of mechanisms. There are assignment. Through assignment, what happens? We assign the entire character. Then we do not own anything out of that. But then we have another way of licensing, where we give a limited license for a limited period of time, for a limited territory, for a limited language. So we need to, that's why in the beginning only I said it is a bundle of right, and you have to dissect that bundle. So it's good to sit with a lawyer. Suppose you are, venturing into another aspect. Sit with a lawyer and try to dissect the right. Okay, fine, I am giving this license to create a web series, a limited series. I am just giving this for that purpose, but they are not owning anything out of that. They will be receiving whatever the money they will be earning, and I will be receiving the license fee for that character. Language is again very important since we are into this international thing.
Yeah.
So which language are you giving? So all these things has to be, and that should be properly documented in your agreement. It is very important. Agreement plays crucial role, because that is not just a document work. It defines everything. A well-documented agreement should be executed, and accordingly you can proceed.
Yeah, thank you, Anamika. We are in the process of doing it, and we are also taking this film to the international arena by dubbing into different languages. So we are hoping to come back to you. So that's a nice business pitch. Thank you so much.
Thanks. So now that we are into the films, I would like you to play the Chhota Bheem, because one of the differentiation that Rajiv has done is, taken a bold step of bringing Chhota Bheem into live action this summer. It was released last month. So can you please play that one?
सोनापुर शहर था सोने का और जादू का। अम्यान ने पूरे शहर और सोनापुर वासियों को अपने कब्जे में कर लिया।
अम्यान, हम तुम्हें श्राप देते हैं, जा धरती में कैद हो जा।
और पूरा सोनापुर धरती के नीचे दब गया। 1000 साल बाद।
आखिर मचका लिया उस्तादू, ढोलकपुर का बलवान।
तुम तो अभी चूरन सिंह से पिट के आ रहे हो, ज्यादा तो नहीं पीटा?
अरे क्या? इनसे लड़ने आया हूँ।
पता है ना, हवाओं का रुख बदल जाता है।
बिजली खड़खड़ाने लगती है, एक भूकंप से आने लगता है।
सब कुछ उस भीम के लिए। अरे मैं क्या भीम से किसी बात में कम हूँ?
सुना है चरण सिंह ने तुम्हें बहुत पीटा।
उसे भी पता चल गया।
ढोलकपुर की हर मुसीबत के सामने मैं दीवार बनकर खड़ा हूँ।
ढोलकपुर में संकट के बादल मंडरा रहे हैं।
कैसा संकट गुरुजी?
शाप से मुक्त हो गया।
कांपेगी धरती, थर्राएगा इंसान, राज करने आएगा अब दामियान।
मैं ऐसा कभी होने नहीं दूंगा।
देखते हैं तुम मुझे कैसे रोकते हो।
ये मेरा बेटा है, वो भागता नहीं, जैसे वो भगाता है।
दूसरों की जान बचाने के लिए अपनी जान को बेझिझक दांव पे लगा दे, ऐसा वीर बालक सदियों में एक बार पैदा होता है। मुझे ललकार रहे हो, मुझे? अब तो ये काम मैं ढोलकपुर से ही शुरू करूंगा।
In cinemas from 31st May.
So we have seen Avengers, we have seen how most of those characters came into live action. Now we have Chhota Bheem actually into the live action. The Chhota Bheem's mother is also with us today in the front row. In fact, we have very short time, but we will open it for questions and then I'll have the closing remarks coming up if you have any questions.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Yeah, that's okay. You can go ahead.
This bit about copyright, I think I had started with you in 2016 when we had a session right here where Ashish had recommended that before you start creating, first you have a lawyer. Then you worry about exposure. Now there's something that still bothers creators like me because we don't own our sound. Somehow sound is into a IPR world of its own right. Two is having made 700 films but all on assignments. Now am I the owner or the agency is the owner or the client is the owner? These little fine definitions of IPR needs to come because when I make a film, in an advertising film, I'm using, advertising is all about lifting from things and using it as a piggyback, to communicate.
Yeah.
No? Basically as a communicator, I create a lot of IPR. Do I own it or not? One, and the audio bit about it, how can we, share the copyright and not, have it independent of our creations?
So, being a smart creator, I will of course have your opinion, but let me tell you what comes as a creator. Unless and until you have assigned the rights through the agreement or through special assignment, the right is still owned by the creator. Okay, so one has to really see that if the producer or an ad agency is weak in contracting, then they can come into trouble any point in time. Because the creators in our country are not aware of their rights. That's why this question comes in. You are very correct about the sound. People pay very less importance to the sound and the copyright of the sound. And most of the composers today, when they give you a tune, even for a movie, they keep the reuse of that tune rights with them for any other movie in the future because they are the creators. And it's very rare that somebody in negotiation will give away that. And that's a prevailing practice as far as sound is concerned and the composers are concerned. So these are very well defined things. Unless and until you sit with the lawyer you cannot go. But what happens is you are always in a hurry as you are producing. Many times you start the work and then sign the contract. That is not a right way of doing things. You please consult a lawyer every time you have a contract, because it's about your rights. And that's why what happens is, for a whole life you are a service provider, but you, at the end of it, you don't own anything. And that's where these questions are always going to be asked. And that's why our recommendation is that you always hire a lawyer and make sure you are aware of your rights, and make sure that you assign your rights if you're paid well. Otherwise, you license your rights.
No, the point here, Ashish ji, is that can we not have a law, by which he has a character, Chhota Bheem has a character, sometimes he creates special sounds just for their entries or exits, difficult
So
sounds.
that law exists. That's what she is trying to tell you. The law exists. We are not using that. So you start using it. It's what the answer is. Thank you. Yes, there.
Check.
Yeah.
My first question is to Ms. Jha. Registering characters, is it limited to big players like Phantom Effects or Green Gold Studios, or someone like me who's a budding filmmaker who can make a short animation film and sort of register characters? Is that a possibility?
Okay, so law is like very neutral to, like, may it be a big production house or may it be a small producer, small artist. Law doesn't differentiate at all. So of course it is for you as well. Like, but now the thing is that one is registering an artwork and another is registering a character. Okay? So artwork is like, suppose you have created a character. You can very well go and register it as an artwork under the artistic work category of copyright. But your artwork does not become the character until and unless you invest in that. As Rajivji has said, Chhota Bheem is not just limited to just the drawing which you see. Yeah, it has a very distinct character, and for that what he did, a lot of publication is required. People should connect with your character. By Chhota Bheem, you just imagine every word around that character, but just by looking at that character. So you receive a character right once you invest into the character, make it a distinct. There are law does not give the protection very easily randomly. Yes, your drawing will be protected, but whether it has received a distinct character in itself, whether people have started associating with that. All these things has to be satisfied, and then you receive a protection as a character. Your character further evolve into well-known trademark. I would love to talk about that as well. Well-known trademark is a stage where everybody is aware, not nationally but internationally with your brand. And then you receive a added layer of protection where even if a similar thing related to that, remotely similar, for example, Chhota Bheem. So one cannot even get that trademark because this Chhota Bheem has become so prominent. So coming to your question, that yes, start with the artwork, but then start investing in your character. If people start knowing it and it has received a distinct feature, then you fall into secondary level, ancillary right, which is called character right. And at that stage, you shall be protected under character right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. In fact, we are running out of time, so I still want 1 minute. I would like Naman to conclude with his remarks and guide us, because you're based in London, you look into Indian entertainment and the Indian character brands and Indian cinema going global. I would like you to do the concluding remarks and see how these characters can go global, and what are the 3 points you can suggest that Indian characters can make it global, because Indian cinema tried to go global for a long period of time, but I believe animation and visual effects is going to be showing the pathway how to go global faster than the live action, I believe. What's your take on this?
The first point would be, what the gentleman, he said, are these characters limited to big companies? No, what's needed is an attitudinal change. Like if you're starting out as an animator like yourself, and suddenly you get an opportunity with a big streamer or someone, and you're quite happy to give your idea to them. Don't do that. It doesn't matter if most people say, "Mujhe to bas chance mil raha hai." No, your idea is your idea. It doesn't matter if you starve for a few days. Own the idea, right? So that's number one. Number two is once you have created the idea, try to do two things. And now it's quite difficult to do it. One, it should be as rooted locally as deeply as possible, because around the world, especially since COVID, people are watching very, very local stories. If India can watch Narcos and Mexico can watch Mirzapur, for example, you need to keep it rooted, but the themes must be universal. So again, I give you Ayalaan or Chhota Bheem. What are the themes? Like what Rajiv said, that boys want to be strong. That's a universal theme. The third thing is you need to get into the media eye, which is where I come in. And how do you do this? It's very difficult. You have to constantly, like if Rajiv can send emails to Netflix for 4 years, you can harass international journalists like myself till somebody says yes, right? And these are the forums where, like the NFDC, IFI, etc., meet all these people. Do it through Indian media as well. Because if people don't know about your product, then it will just remain here.
Thank you very much, and thanks a lot again NFDC and Information Broadcasting Ministry for keeping this manthan on. And I think these kind of forums are going to give rise to a lot more enthusiasts and entrepreneurs who are going to actually believe in IP and taking Indian IP global. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot, all the panelists. You've been wonderful. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much to all our esteemed guests, and also sincere thanks to Mr. Ashish Kulkarni for guiding today's discussion, and a huge round of applause for our panelists who have shared their expertise with us. We are grateful to the Mumbai International Film Festival, the Satyajit Ray Film and Television Kolkata, and the Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry for bringing us all together. Thank you, audience, for your enthusiasm and participation this afternoon. This is your host, Ayushi Dholakia, signing off. Thank you.